Hello everybody and welcome to another Nipkin video. I've always been someone who enjoyed playing games since middle school. Back then it was the time of the mighty MMORPGs. Open worlds, endless possibility, classes, monsters and most importantly, community. If Warcraft, Flive, Ion or the countless other titles, I love to at least try them out with friends. What better way to spend your time than running through monster-crawling dungeons, exploring the beautiful scenery, fangirling over hot NPCs, and yes, occasionally farming. Well, apparently my neighbors and family weren't of the same opinion as they frequently busted my door open to tell me to shut the hell up because, you know, games make you aggressive. As I played in the most wondrous world of Flive. Flive was this little old turnip's first MMORPG, and by first I mean it had just enough to legally call itself one.
Yeah, boy.
Quests, classes, gears, and dungeons, and that's about it. But hey, it was 2005, what more could we want? The real charm was in the cartoony graphics and the dream of flying around on a broomstick like a discount anime witch. But that didn't keep me from being utterly excited to obtain my first broom. The cities were always packed with players hawking their digital wares like medieval street vendors, and honestly, the NPC portraits were damn good for the time of 2005. However, once you hit the higher levels, the real Flive experience kicked in. Suddenly you're hunting 70 lollipops with a drop rate so low and might as well be imaginary. Sure, you could just click a button and watch your character auto-attack like a sugar-fueled Roomba while the elevator music plays its slow descent into madness, but somehow that didn't make the grind any sweeter. I tried to replay it years later thinking I would relive the magic, but it turns out nostalgia is better served as a memory and not the downloadable client. But hey, if you wish to have your own little nostalgia trip, since 2022, Flive is still available on the browser. And yes, you can still play it on the potato of a laptop even now. Unlike Ion. Now, Ion was like a Flive for grown-up turnips. The edgy teenage evolution, if you will. It was a clear upgrade from the copy-paste environment and toony style of Flive, with an expansive, beautiful city and a wonderful variety of environments, as well as an improved atmosphere in comparison. And yes, it was my first pay-to-play game. Oh my god, I even have the disc version of this shit! Oh fuck, I'm old. Anyway, Ion's world felt way more alive and explorative with a map that held your hand just enough to hint at where you should head to next while keeping you engaged with cutscenes and wings. What is better than a broomstick? Wings, of course. That's until you realized you couldn't fly just wherever you wanted. Why give me wings just to immediately take them away? Still, the combat had actual impact and the gear looked hella awesome. At least the higher levels did. Oh, and don't get me started on the cute pets, which I collected like a rabid Pokemon trainer. I played this game for a very long time, until it too got slowly buried under the sands of time and system updates. However, after I tried playing it again some time ago, as per usual with long-running MMOs, I was just heated through the story arcs with new gear being thrown at me faster than I could put it on. But just as the MMORPG genre started to get stale and dig its own grave, one thing came along to the rescue. Action MMORPGs. Well, honestly it's just MMORPGs, but cooler, because now you were able to see your character looking absolutely badass while pummeling the same monsters. I'm talking about Laden Soul and Dragonist. Yes, given two very different games, but they had one thing in common: the fun in combat, fast-paced, combo-reliant, and damn good music. Dragonist was your classic dungeon crawler, and I do mean classic because that's literally all you did. Crawl, boo, dungeons. G. But I genuinely adored the game's charming, cutesy style. It had this enchanting medieval vibe that was so consistent it felt like you truly were part of it. Even the music had this whimsical flair that stuck with me so hard that I still play it while cleaning my apartment nowadays. And I know I said dungeon crawling, but it's more like blazing through while slinging spells and kicking ass. The combat was flashy, fast-paced, and super fun with abilities that would combo together wonderfully, if you didn't just decide to face roll your keyboard like I did. But then the realization hit. And that was that I was fighting the same poor goblin for the 53rd time in a row. At that point, he didn't even try anymore. He just sighed, rolled his eyes, and launched himself off a cliff to save us both the trouble. Guess I wasn't the only one getting tired of the repetitiveness. Sadly, the European servers got now closed, considering that I was hoping to get another try at it, although I knew what would await me at the end of it all. The same destiny that the next MMORPG succumbed to as well. Blade and Soul. Blade and Soul, on the other hand, wasn't just about dungeons. It was about soaking in the world. I spent so much time just standing on mountaintops, listening to the beautiful music and taking in the scenery like I was the main character in a very dramatic fantasy film. The character creation was way ahead of its time, and the outfits were so absolutely stunning that my jaw dropped when I first laid eyes on them. Physics gave them so much life, and with that I mean not only outfits, but other parts. What made it even better was that many of them didn't require you to spend real money, a rare thing nowadays. It really felt like an event, from small group dungeons to the big raids where players split into teams to take on bosses, all while looking absolutely fabulous. Yes, Blade and Soul was the first game I ever spent money on, and honestly I don't think many people could resist the same urge. There was just so much to do in the game, from climbing the tower to exploring dungeons to getting caught up in surprisingly emotional and well-written story that kept you coming back for more. But then came the grind. Like in any other game, slowly the prices for basic upgrade items began to rise, and progressing became either a matter of spending hours upon hours farming or pulling out your wallet. If you didn't, you would fall behind while everyone else moved on to harder content. That's when I realized I didn't have the energy to treat an MMORPG like a full-time job anymore. So I stepped away once again, not out of frustration, but with a kind of quiet acceptance that the golden days were behind me. Honorable mentions are going to Guild Wars, Terra, Black Desert, and many more. Now, making this video has made me try out many of the MMORPGs mentioned, many of which made me feel dead inside after just 10 minutes of playing, as the magic of nostalgia was strained and playing on my own to get footage felt rather lonely. Yes, I usually only like to play with others. The only game that actually made me think of getting back into it was Blade and Soul Neo, the re-release of Blade and Soul, which starts from the early days. However, I'm afraid it too will meet its end like the overall MMORPG genre did. The MMO scene requires a lot of time to be invested into, as well as money nowadays, which makes it hard for someone to fix on one of them, let alone several. Over the years, the genre has tried to return, but to no avail. But who knows, maybe it will come back to shine once again in a few years. Anyway, this trip down memory lane certainly took some time, but I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Why not let me know if you are still playing MMORPGs? Which one still has your heart and wallet chained to the screen? And what's your opinion on the decline of the MMORPG scene? Let me know in the comments, leave a like or hit that subscribe button. Until next time.